Now we'll cover finesse wedge play, the small shots around the green. We've gone through our distance wedges. Those are the longer wedge shots. Now we're going to finesse wedges. And so these are typically carrying maybe 30 to 40 yards at the most. Square face ones certainly will go 40 yards, but we're probably going to focus more on the lower end of this fundamental shot, the ones that are carrying the 10 to 20, maybe 25 yards. Right. What are the control variables that are important for finesse wedge expertise? Different ones, or used in a different way. So the first one is attack angle. If you're going to become a very good finesse wedge player, you need to be able to shallow your angle of attack. We don't even need to put numbers on this for you. It just needs to be shallow so that you're only bruising the turf, not digging great holes or taking big divots. The second one is shaft lean, and this is a little different to distance wedges. So we were encouraging considerable forward shaft lean at impact for a distance wedge, but for a finesse wedge, we want to take some of the shaft lean back and allow the club to have a bit more loft. So we want a slightly higher launch angle, which will give us a slightly higher land angle. So that's what these control variables are. Again, shallow, -3 to -6 if you're into the numbers, but we need precise low point control, so we don't need this digging into the turf. And then the forward shaft lean, much less than with a distance wedge.
This is a great example from Justin Thomas here. This is taken short of 13 at Muirfield in the practice round. He's dropped a couple balls. Again, Mike is allowing us to access this video. Very, very appreciative of them helping us here. But we said we want a 20-yard pitch shot, square face from the fairway. It really doesn't get much better than this. And maybe at first glance it seems rather ordinary, but I find it incredibly impressive control from a couple different aspects. Number one, notice the head movement. It's real easy to see with the tower in the background and the flag using as a marker. Watch his head rise quickly. That's the extension Doc and I are often looking for. A lot of times it's happening before impact, and it's certainly aggressively happening after impact. But that's a beautiful illustration of really what you want to feel as you rotate. You definitely want to feel like you're growing, I like to say. And then secondly, he doesn't even really leave a mark on the grass. He's utilizing the bounce very nicely with incredible precision. I feel like he could almost go to the middle of the green and hit this shot. As we know, like Gary Woodland at the U.S. Open last year, these guys are pretty comfortable operating in this mode. It's common for tour players to pitch the ball, but it usually is among the best of them to pitch the ball in this manner where they just kind of shave it out of the ground. But this is a great demonstration of that by JT.
And then same shot from face on lane. The only thing I'd add here is that the modern day wedge really helps them in this type of shot, right?
That's right. That's right. There's so many advantages nowadays in the Vokey line compared to the classic wedges of the 70s from the manufacturers. They've really been able to capitalize on various designs and input from the players to kind of customize for different golf courses and different release patterns and preferences. So I total agreement with Doc. Looking at this motion, a couple things jump out to me. Incredible, very still, nice rotation and extension, but also I don't want it to be lost on how soft his arms look. That is a byproduct of the rotation. You're not going to have really soft, rhythmic appearances unless the motion is being primarily driven by the pivot and the rotation of the chest and pelvis.
And just for comparison, so we think that what Justin is doing there is remarkable and kind of like the gold standard. But Jordan Spieth's a pretty darn good finesse wedge player too, and this is extremely good technique also. So again, you'll notice the rotation, the extension. But one of the big differences, and I think that this is really evident with Jordan, is that he will take more divot than Justin. So there's much more kind of damage done to the turf when the club strikes the ground here with Jordan. But both techniques are effective. I think if I can summarize this, that Justin's technique affords him a little bit larger margin for error than the steeper attack angle that Jordan employs. So it's if you're as good as Jordan, you can use this technique, and it's perfectly effective.
So this is bunker line drill, and this is something that Duffner and I learned years ago from various people, but it was reinforced by Vijay Singh. We watched Vijay do a lot of this in his heyday in 2004 era, and we've seen some great old teachers like Ben Doyle help his students a lot with this. Wanted to take this opportunity right now to get into the bunker and do some great wedge play work, getting some feedback out of the sand. I've always thought that this is a great medium to work on technique and work on outcome. And so in this case, what we've done is we've smoothed the bunker out with the rounded side of the rake. That's really important. You don't want the big fluffy sand with big rake marks. And I've drawn a line in the sand. I've just used one of the basic fiberglass rods. You can easily just take the toe of the club and do it as well, but this is just a nice illustration. And what we're trying to do here is get the feedback of what the sand really provides in the ball contact. What you're trying to do and what you're trying to feel is how much turn of the body, how much rotation of the torso is needed to really move the club in perfect sequence of the arms and hands, and really the timing of the fold and the delivery. And so this highlights the attack angle tremendously, shaft length, contact point, and all the control variables we constantly talk about. So let me get started. This is how you use the lead edge of this line. I'm going to put my lead edge on the forward side, and when I do this, I want to just kind of feel how much I have to turn. It forces to keep your center of mass real still, and you can see that's a perfect delivery. I entered the sand on the lead edge and I took my divot. I'm going to try to do it again. A little bit forward there, a little bit shallow there, but that was good. Low point, I missed the sand there. That was perfect. So you get that immediate feedback. That last one was about an inch fat. This is a really challenging drill. I love it because it really forces the body to turn, the connection of the arms, and a very stillness of your center of mass. It highlights the importance of the low energy shot and the precision needed for wedge play. So now I'm going to introduce the golf ball. Same concept. Put my lead edge down on the back of the ball, and I'm trying to pick this shot, trying to catch it clean, and ultimately it's not about the outcome, but it's about the feedback you're getting as you build your way towards good outcomes in the end. In the beginning of the drill, it's challenging. You're going to get a lot of feedback. Some of it has to do with the over acceleration of your arms and hands. Some of it has to do with the way your body's moving. But ultimately, when all that cleans up, you'll be able to hit really consistent, high quality golf shots, ball first. I'm going to try to do that now and talk your way through it here. Obviously, 4 inches fat. Let's try that again. Very solid. You can see the lead edge started right on the back of the line. I caught ball first. A little bit heavy. Again, that's a good illustration of strike margin, as we mentioned before. as long as you're shallow, you don't have to be perfect on your low point, and you still hit a decent golf shot. There'll be some things that change sometimes when you hit it fat, but you still hit pretty respectable outcomes. And then lastly, a little bit heavy again, but I get the ball out of the bunker, up on the green, decent results. I think that this is one of the most important drills, especially for advanced players to do, to help clean up their technique and again build towards those good outcomes. And so obviously solid contact point is critical here. I'll also say, it was said, I've heard stories by the greats through the game, this is how Seve practiced a lot. Also, we know he grew up on the beaches of Spain, and all he had is a 3-iron. I suspect that he was hitting these shots pretty solid most of the time, and he wasn't only hitting blasts. So the sand is a great medium to try to really teach yourself trust and good technique, and prepare yourself for those moments on the golf course when you don't have choice lies. So anytime you're facing into the grain, wet scenarios, this is something that you can recall and know that your training has prepared you for, because you can deliver with great precision that lead edge and ultimately depend on the bounce like we saw from Justin Thomas. If you can really master this, you can really shave the ball and never get that sticky impact. And then the last piece that you could take away from this drill is you could hit to various pins on the green, and you could try to obviously pitch the ball close to the hole as kind of a master level piece. So you start off the line, the front edge of the line, then you secondly introduce a golf ball trying to hit it solid, and then you finish with trying to hit the ball close to the hole. So we like to teach in progression, and this is a great drill for that.
And Layne, it's important that the audience knows that you're not trying to hit a bunker shot here. You're trying to hit a finesse wedge shot, so picking the ball cleanly out of the sand, right?
That's right. It's important to reiterate that we are trying to clip the ball as solid as possible, and this is the drill that's the shortcut. It'll make pitching off of grass like cheating if you can pitch it out of the bunker like this.
If you enjoyed the content of the webinar, we'd encourage you to visit WedgeCraft.com, where you can access many more hours of wedge play videos.